What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And one of the other things I do on a monthly basis is I host monthly online conversations for fathers that are hosted by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization, and Dove Men Care. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Like to thank everyone who's watching live, going to be watching on the replay, or listening live, or listening on the replay. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. If you know even the slightest thing about Dr. Vibe, I like having new friends on the Dr. Vibe Show. And over digital conversations, email-wise, over the last few weeks, we have another new friend, and I'm really excited to have this gentleman on. Read some of his articles, and I reached out, and he answered, and we've had some great offline conversations. Now we're going to bring it to you live. New friend is Richard M. Wright. He has his MA. He's a Jamaican New Yorker who lives in Florida. He received his master's at the California Institute of Integral Studies, where he studied Expressive Arts Therapy. He also completed the Healthy Masculinity Bystander Intervention program with Men Can Stop Rape. Combining these skill sets, he has created art-based workshops that foster consent, culture, and healthy masculinities with movement, drama, and play. The interventions develop empathy, integrity, accountability, and a value for our own and each other's boundaries and humanity. He writes for Colorlines Magazine. That's where I saw and heard about him first, where he explores themes of masculinity, love, liberation, healing, and accountability. He was also published in the very timely, groundbreaking anthology Ask, Building Consent Culture, edited by Kitty Stryker. As a cisgendered straight man, he strongly believes that it is important for him to be accountable and represent by doing this important culture shifting work towards a paradigm that respects the boundaries and humanity of ourselves, women, girls, non-binary folks, and everyone else too. He is going to be live. He is live with us tonight. It's going to be, well, hopefully we're going to get to talking about this subject, but who knows? Other things may happen tonight because there's so much to share, but we're promising to not be a one and done. He's here tonight talking about masculinity, love, and liberation. Welcome for the first time, but not the last time, Richard M. Wright.
Hey, how are you doing, man?
I am outstanding. How are you, young man?
Good. Young man, I appreciate that. I'll take that. That's
Well,
good.
you know, age ain't nothing but a number, right?
I appreciate that. Yes.
Oh, excellent. And how you been today?
I'm good. I'm good. I had a restful day after doing a workshop, an amazing workshop in remotely in Jamaica yesterday. So I've been looking forward to tonight.
Well, and folks, he just didn't do a workshop. He did a 3-hour workshop. So we are very blessed to have him because I know what facilitating workshops, whether it's online or in person, even for half an hour, they can drain you. So we're not going to tax on him too much, but he's promised he'll be back. So Richard, for our family, for the first time who haven't heard or seen about you before, can you share a little bit of background about yourself other than the great accolades I shared a few moments ago?
Sure. Thank you. So yeah, I was born in New York to two wonderful Jamaican parents, and me and my sister moved to Jamaica in the mid '70s, and we lived in Jamaica up through the '80s, and now we're in the United States, and it's been a lot of my work has been influenced by my parents that gave me and my sister a fairly gender neutral upbringing in lots of ways. For instance, we were both taught to, in terms of dating, to wait for a special someone. It wasn't like, Richard, go sow your wild oats, and you cross your legs until you're married. It wasn't like that. We were both told to wait for somebody special, and I did. And I was one of the last boys in my peer group to do so, and I'm really glad that I did.
Wonderful. Memories of Jamaica, and what do you miss about Jamaica?
Oh, wow. So much. I miss the food. I miss the just so much about the culture. I think that Jamaicans are the funniest people on the planet. I feel like our sense of humor is doesn't get enough exposure. Um, what else do I miss? I miss wow. I mean, spending the 80s in Jamaica was amazing. I mean, to be there during the rise of what was going to become dancehall was incredible. I remember when the slang tang rhythm dropped, and we were like, "What's that sound?" And yeah, I could go on for a long time about Jamaica. I have very dear feelings.
Well, and it was one of the wonderful things that we found out we had in common when we had our offline
Hmm.
conversations.
Hmm.
Both Rich and I have parents of Jamaican heritage.
Hmm.
Um, both, well, both our fathers very educated. I believe your mother is very educated also. So the conversation was like two yardies hanging out who hadn't seen each other for years, and it was great. Uh, when leaving Jamaica, do you remember that moment of leaving Jamaica, and how did you feel leaving Jamaica?
Well, hmm. Well, I mean, I started in New York, and we going to Jamaica. When I left Jamaica, I knew I could always return, and going leaving Jamaica meant going back to New York, and I loved New York as well. You know, so I mean, I went back to New York in like 1987, and was there for like the golden age of hip hop, the golden age of house music. So that took over everything, you know, at that point. And the golden, I mean, and the golden age of dance hall. You know, we started to hear Shaba on the radio and stuff like that. So it was great. I feel like it was the best of both worlds.
Nice.
And Jamaican culture was strong in New York as well.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
You mentioned the influence your parents have had on you.
Hmm.
What are some of the influences they instilled on you that you still carry today?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, like this kind of gender neutral upbringing. Like I watched which I write about in one of my articles in Colorlines. Like I watched my dad advocate for my younger sister when she wanted to be on, you know, the school soccer team, what we call football, you know, for the school soccer team. And but they were like, oh, that's only a boys' team, and my dad was like really going to bat for my sister to try and get her on the team, and to just see that modeled that, you know, to for my dad to, you know, love his daughter to the extent that he wasn't going to let her gender stop her from getting opportunities. That, you know, well, you love this, well, I'm going to make sure you can do it. You know, so um, yes, and younger sister signing on.
Yes, exactly.
AG. So so yeah, so it's been yeah, so that influenced me deeply, and the reason I said I wanted to come on and talk about masculinity, love, and liberation is because that's the kind of love that I've wanted to bring into my, you know, social justice work. You know, it's said that Che Guevara has a quote that, you know, that the true revolutionary's, you know, path is grounded in I'm probably paraphrasing, but like in true feelings of love, and I kind of bring that into my work. Mhm.
So, would it be correct to say that your parents were the foundation of your social justice journey?
Oh, definitely, definitely, yes. Um, Yes, they were my dad was a tireless, um, just like activist in lots of ways. He advocated for working class people in rural Jamaica, and set up cooperatives, and he was always just very passionate about social justice. And me and my sister, we definitely grew up with that, a very, you know, well-honed consciousness about these things. Um,
Nice.
and my mom as well. My mom, you know, she studied education, and we both grew up with a strong sense of justice.
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice. Well, I know we may be a little bit limited time because you've had a long day, so
Hmm.
I don't want to.
Oh, let's keep going. Yeah,
Let's get
yeah. Yeah.
so, um, education.
Hmm.
How was your educational career? Because well established. Was it an easy journey for you?
Easy. Um,
Some people some people say, yeah, it was no problem, and I don't make assumptions.
right, right. I wouldn't say easy. I mean, in Jamaica, they definitely don't play around, and they're pretty strict in that part. That wasn't easy. Um, and then coming to the States, I actually experienced some culture shock, and that kind of shook me up, and um, wasn't finding that very easy. But then I did find my way, and once I went to uh, Hampshire College and created um, my own concentration, and then uh, got my graduate degree in expressive arts therapy. Then everything kind of clicked after that. But none of that was easy, definitely.
Well, I don't make assumptions. I don't
Right,
make
right,
assumptions. I don't make assumptions.
right.
Uh, we chatted a little bit before, and I love
Mm-hmm,
the topic that you're bringing to the platform tonight.
mm-hmm,
So, masculinity, love, and liberation.
mm-hmm,
Um, if you're comfortable, I'd like you to define or give your thoughts on each one of those topics or subjects at this
mm-hmm,
time in your journey.
mm-hmm,
You know what? Because masculinity's been a hot topic,
mm-hmm,
especially over the last few years.
mm-hmm.
Uh, where do you feel the state of masculinity is at this point in time?
Hmm. Masculinity. Well, I feel like there's a crisis of masculinity happening. And I mean, just the fact that there's an idea that masculinity is this one static thing, I think is an issue. And I feel like there are actually many masculinities, um, and that it's not just the realm of cisgendered people or straight people. That there are trans masculinities, there are female masculinities, like and people know this instinctively. Like we know that when you look at Beyonce and you look at Grace Jones, that there's a difference in that femininity, you know. And there's and I would say masculinity is an expression. It's a set of codes that is given by society that is endowed into what we perceive as male people. And a lot of my work is around healthy masculinity and just helping to empower people to express the healthiest way to be a masculine person.
Okay.
Mm,
Has masculinity become blurred? Like it's because I have a number of conversations about masculinity, and
hmm.
everyone seems to have their own thought of masculinity, and it seems that it's in a state of confusion, or
Mm,
it's not clear.
mm.
And if you
Well, hmm.
go ahead, go ahead.
Well, well, actually, you say a bit more. What when you say like I don't know if we're saying the same thing. What when you say people are saying it's a confusion and like and blurry, like what does that mean?
I think that it's I think some people are
Hmm.
not comfortable for it's changing,
Hmm.
right?
Exactly.
You guys, there are a number of people that say masculinity should be like this. It's been like this. For it to be transforming, that's not right.
Right. Oh, okay. Hey, Nikki. Um, yes. Things are changing and changing rapidly. Gender is changing a lot, and I know that it's hard for a lot of people to keep up, but it actually always has been this way, but this is what it is, and a lot of people are not comfortable with gender roles not being this rigid binary, and it's actually never been a binary, but people, I mean, there are intersex people who are born with um, a variety of how their genitals manifest can be multiple different ways, and whether they have a uterus or not. They could have a uterus and a penis, and what we've been doing for the longest time is that at birth, the doctor looks and decides, and he assigns a gender at that point in time, and lots of times um, mutilates like the genitalia and decides this is a girl, or the penis isn't big enough, so it's a girl, or whatever it is. And we force people literally into different genders, whether they they appear the way that we accept as a particular gender, or not. So it's never been a binary. Um, we like to think that, a lot of us like to think that, and it's comfortable, but there's never been a binary.
Okay.
Hmm.
Excellent.
Hmm.
Love.
Hmm.
Here
Hmm.
we are, September 17th, 2020.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes,
at this,
David. I'm
yes.
just saying hi to people.
No, it's more than happy to.
Mhm,
Thank you for sharing out the information.
mhm,
I love them right back.
mhm,
Uh, Again, I will ask at this point in your journey, what are your thoughts about the whole state of love, the environment of love? Because we're certainly in environment where we're
mhm.
seeing probably more acts of non-love, or as many acts of
Right.
non-love as love.
Mhm, mm. Well, yeah, the reason why I think it's really important to bring love into liberation work, especially when it comes to um, being a cisgendered straight man, I think about other cisgendered straight men, and how we profess to love women, you know, however, when women are being oppressed, a lot of us also tend to look the other way. Like, when black men are shot by police, we rise up, and we're angry, and it often takes a lot more to rally up that same, like, passion when black women are also shot by police. I had to, that which kind of made the Say Her Name movement come about, because it was like literally like, hey, black women are experiencing this too. So I bring love into it because I'm like, so, and you don't have to be a straight man to advocate for women, but as a straight man, to be like, we say we love women, but why are we not, like, at the front and center of advocating for women's rights if we say we love them? So that's something that has influenced me, because I can't, I don't feel like I can sit back and not do anything. It's like, oh, I love you, oh, like, but oh, they're doing what, they're, oh, like, with I don't even want to get into what's happening, what the ICE is doing right now. That just upsets me so much. Yeah, like, they're giving forced hysterectomies and these.
That, I heard that this morning. I froze for a moment. I really, I said, we're supposed to be an advanced modern society, and I heard that, and I was, the concern I have, Richard, with things like that is it's getting to the point where some people, more and more people, just accepting it and not passionate about, they're not angry about it and not expressing
Right.
themselves about it.
Hmm.
And that's when that's where my concern, that we're taking it, some people are more and more people are taking it as normal, which it is not.
Right.
It's not
Right.
normal. It's
It's
not
not
right.
normal at all. It's beyond horrifying. It's numbing. How I think, yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Let's
yeah,
well, we won't, let's move on, because that we want to move on from that.
because we
Fine.
could because we could just stay there and for the rest. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like, and that's why we want you back, because
Hmm.
that may be a conversational all
Hmm.
itself. And David Muir saying, yes, this dialogue needs to be heard by all. That's why I have
Hmm.
Richard here to
Yes.
be the tip of the spear in this
Mm.
sort of conversation. Black liberation or liberation in general,
Hmm.
definitely in the United States. I'm here in Canada and Toronto.
Hmm.
Liberation has become a hot topic again.
Hmm. Yes. And I wanted to talk about liberation and
Please.
specifically Black liberation
Yep.
because um, like we have a record for our liberation movements where Black liberation ends up meaning the liberation of Black men. And we have Black liberation movements where actually in the particular movement, women are being abused. So I'm like, when is the Black liberation movement where it's inclusive, where it's actually all of us together and not just Black men at the top, then women, then LGBTQ folks? You know, when are we all going to? When is it going to be all lives matter? Like if all Black lives matter. Don't say I said all lives matter.
Yeah,
All
but
Black,
no, I got your
all
back. I heard you. I heard you.
all all Black lives matter. Okay. Don't steal that sound clip and be like Richard Wright says all lives matter. No. So um yes, so all Black lives matter. Like we're seeing right now with the Black Lives Matter movement that it's actually influenced a lot of um white folks who actually want to do the work, and they've made all of these anti-racist books like best-selling books on New York Times, in the New York Times best-selling list. So I'm like, well, what needs to happen for books like Bell Hooks, The Will to Change, to get that on the best-selling list? Like, what needs to happen for men to step up in similar ways? You know, I've been writing these pieces because I'm like, what needs to happen for men to get on board? Men who say they love women, people who say they're for Black liberation. I say, okay, well, Black liberation for everyone, for women, for LGBTQ folks. You know, what we gonna do? What's up?
So let me drill a little bit down on
Hmm.
this, Richard.
Hmm. Hmm.
Why do you feel there's a gap when we refer to Black liberation, and why isn't it as inclusive as it should or could be, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's because of patriarchy, because of cis hetero patriarchy. That even though um, and it's something that's been happening for a really long time. Like the reason that Black feminism, as we know it, kind of um, came to being is because on one end, um, white feminists were not listening to Black women's concerns, actually including sterilization, which is now coming kind of full circle. Black women were going. It's like this is an issue for us, and white feminists were like, eh, you know, that doesn't really affect us. And so, and at the same time, um, Black nationalist caucuses were like, hey, Black women, if you if you have an abortion, then that's genocide for Black people. So we're going to lobby against reproductive rights for Black women. And and so Black women and Black queer folks were like, okay, so if anybody is going to look out for us, it's going to be us. So and you can, this is documented really well um, in a book called How We Get Free. um, oh, I'm forgetting the author's name, but it chronicles um, the Kambahi River Collective, which is named after an action that um, oh, I'm blocking out right now. Mm, that Harriet Tubman did. Um, and they wanted to name the group after an action as opposed to a person. And if you check that out, it shows the whole rise of that movement. And to so out of that kind of frustration, that Black women feel so alone that they have to do this movement without us, like I want that to change. I want there to be a new Black movement. I mean, well, the Black Lives Matter is actually a movement that was started by women, including queer Black people, but it interestingly still gets steered towards, you know, um, being more rallying up more energy when it's about a black man has been shot by police or brutalized by police. So yeah, patriarchy. I think patriarchy is our hugest um, obstacle. Mhm,
And especially with you and I having Jamaican roots,
mhm.
that's a heavy word in
Oh
Jamaican
yeah,
culture.
absolutely.
It's very, very heavy
Yeah,
in
yes.
Jamaican culture.
Mm,
Uh, I'll parking lot that for now. I'd like to, before we finish, have some potential solutions to
mhm.
resolve
Thanks,
that.
thanks, G. G put the name of the
Yes,
book there. Yes,
how we get free by
Kianga Yamahata Taylor.
man. G, I hope you're paying G good.
Yes, man.
One of the things that we mentioned, or you mentioned to me before you came on live, is there was one of your most popular articles, if not the hottest article you have going right now, "Healthy Masculinity and Toxic Masculinity in Wakanda: An
Hmm.
Intersectional Afrofuturist Perspective."
Hmm.
Can you give a little background about that
Hmm.
article and share with our audience what it's all about?
Sure. And if anybody wants to see that, I mean, oh, is there a link? You have a link up?
I will get the link up.
Okay, but if you just Google healthy masculinity and Wakanda, it pops right up. So that was okay after uh, Black Panther had just dropped. I knew I had to write a piece about it really quickly, and um, I wanted to tie it to my work around healthy masculinity. And I saw that um, Chadwick Boseman, RIP, rest in peace, that his character actually really embodied a lot of the tenets of healthy masculinity. Like he and and that his nemesis actually embodied a lot of unhealthy masculine traits. So I mapped healthy masculinity onto T'Challa and some unhealthy masculine traits onto his nemesis, as you know. Um, but I put like some of the healthy masculine traits are empathy, um, emotional intelligence, and the ability to just listen to women. Like he actually listens to advice from his ex-girlfriend in terms of how to rule the kingdom, and um, yeah, and a lot of other and chooses communication over violence. A lot of different things. Check it out, you'll see.
I get it. I hear you. I
Hmm.
hear you. And I always like to find out the background, the story behind the article. So, how long did it take you to write it, and how did you feel once you finished writing that article?
Oh, well, how long did it take me? I'm gonna say it was probably about a week. And I knew that I had to just really get it out because, that's when all the hoopla around Black Panther was around. And it's like, I know that, it's going to die down. It's going to be like, wee, Black Panther. And everybody's going to be like, okay, I don't want to read anything about that anymore. So I got it out just, I think, as the crest was about to go
Mhm.
down and um, felt really good to get it out there. Mhm.
Interesting, the perspective you give it about that movie, about how Chadwick Boseman's character listened to women,
Mm,
got their input, etc.
mm,
Do you
mhm.
feel the majority of Black adults that watched the movie got that?
Mhm. Um, I don't know what people. I feel like the impact was very positive, and people absorbed a lot. I mean, it's pretty deep. I mean, it's a movie about a black country, an African country that's never been colonized, never experienced slavery, and and managed to um, and then they can, you know, they become the most technologically advanced country on earth because they can develop by themselves and and women are powerful and I mean there's so many things in there like it's all Afrocentric beauty like they were never exposed to like European beauty standards and feelings that maybe maybe that's superior to African beauty, and that's in the movie as well. So I feel like there's so many aspects of it that were absorbed by Black people, and I like to think that the way that Chadwick Boseman portrayed a king, that's one of them too, and him having those traits. Um, like there are times where in that what's that there's that um, duel that he has to do to combat for kingship,
Right.
and he could by rights have killed whoever he was in battle with, and he chose, no, I'm going to exercise my ability to spare life, and if people think, well, you should have killed him, that's fine. My masculinity isn't fragile, and people think I should have killed him. That's on them. I didn't want to, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So David is saying he doesn't
Mm,
feel the majority
mm,
got that message, and then he says majority question mark. So many
mm.
things to unpack in that world. David, it sounds like we may need to get you on the Dr. Vibe show because it.
Oh boy, yes.
Did I say something wrong there?
No, you didn't. No, not at all. I'm gonna, and that's a double vote. That's like you want David on the show. Trust me.
All right. Well, if you have his contact information, I'd love you to digitally introduce us. I
I
would.
think I might be able to dig it up. I think I might be able to find that
Well,
somewhere.
David, before the end of the conversation, I'll put up my website, and there's a contact Dr. Vibe show
Mm.
link that you can go there with.
Mm.
David says, "Careful, I can be dangerous." I already got that sense by the body language by Richard. We're not afraid of danger.
No.
As Mr. Let's paraphrasing John Lewis. There's good danger.
Yes. Right.
There's
Yeah.
good danger.
Me and David and went to high school in Jamaica together, and we started DJing in 1985 together. We taught ourselves to DJ on turntables, and he later became my brother-in-law. And
Very
yes.
nice. Well, that's another thing that we all have in common. The Jamaican and the music thing, and actually, my dad is actually a member of the Vinyl Record Collectors Hall of Fame of America.
What?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is a true. Well, most Jamaican males, yeah, the music thing, but yeah, he's a member of that. Yes, David says, yes, good danger. We have been friends for 30 plus years. Well,
Yeah. Yes.
um, won't get off the topic, but I short little story, and I think I may have told Richard this
Mm,
a few weeks ago. I took my father to his
mm,
best friend's birthday party. His
mm,
best friend was turning 85 years old.
mm,
And of course, my dad had to make a speech, being a Jamaican and a
mm,
teacher. And he
mm,
said two powerful things. He said, first of all, I've known this man longer than anyone else here, including his wife.
mm,
And then he said, I've known this man. He's been my best friend for 70 years.
mm. Beautiful.
Right back from the days in Montego Bay.
Mm-hmm. Mobe. Nice.
So there you go. And G says Ambassadors Disco. Well,
Yes, that was our sound system. Yes.
well, I'm a Soulful House guy. I love Soulful House
Me
music.
too. Me too. Me too.
Listen to it all day, all night. So when we're fairing off, let's get back to our conversation here. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to take up too much more of your time because I know you've had a long day.
Mm.
Uh, this topic, how has 2020
Oh,
affected
oh,
this, this
oh.
topic? Because this year's been like no other, and especially I put it that we haven't had an event in our time and maybe our
Mm,
parents' time that
mhm,
affected every person directly or indirectly in the world.
mm, mhm.
But I'm obviously from a Black lens. What are your thoughts on how this year has affected Black liberation, Black love, Black masculinity?
Hmm. How was 2020? Oh, that's a really good question. I mean, we've watched Black Lives Matter become like such a force of change during this time. Um, I remember like feeling a sense of, I mean, what not being sure where it's going, but feeling a sense of relief when the uprisings started happening around George Floyd, and um, yeah, I personally am not someone that goes out and burns stuff, but I was glad to see it. I said that my ancestors used to burn the cane fields, and the cane fields look different now, but we still burning them, you
Mm.
know? And so, and yeah, I mean, there's some people who are not going to like to hear that. But, this country was built on our backs. Well, not necessarily our backs, but the backs of people whose ancestors of this land built this land, So, you know, it's like, hey, we built it. We can burn it if we want. This was all our labor. Hmm. Don't get me started. Them already. Okay.
I, I, one of the things I don't know if we had shared offline
Mm,
that I do is I mentor a lot of black men,
hmm yes.
and the effect that, from my perspective, that this year has had on masculinity on many black men,
hmm
in some cases, has been devastating.
mm, okay.
And one of the areas that definitely has to be looked at from a black, I think, black perspective, period, is the
hmm
effect on our mental health.
Oh my God, that's huge. Yes. Yes. Well, I will say, I mean, I feel like a huge part of a healthy masculinity is literally about our health as people, and probably most and foremost, our mental health. I mean, men, depression for Black men is so real, um, and patriarchy actually feeds into it because of the way that that masculinity is supposed to be for us is that we're supposed to devalue emotions as something that's in the feminine realm. So it's like, so oh no, that's boys don't cry and all of this stuff, and so we are supposed to not express our feelings and bottle them up inside. And they say that depression is anger turned in towards yourself, and I feel like that's what a lot of us are kind of condemned to do, to just not be able to express sadness and be angry at ourselves about it, and go into depression. And then the idea of going into therapy is also feminized. That's like, well, men don't go to black men don't go to therapy. So that makes the problem even worse. So yeah, so those are very serious issues to
Well,
contend with. Mm,
one of the things I
mm,
say there, that there are a number of black men that are screaming and nothing's coming out.
right.
And
Mm-hmm,
actually, a colleague of mine said to me a while back, he said that, Dr. Vibe,
hmm
every black person should have a therapist.
right. Right. And
Absolutely.
we are, in this country, there's a constant state of, oh, Boomy.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. It's been years. Boomy. That's a music lover too.
Oh, yes, that's we met dancing.
Oh, your joke. Your joke.
Serious thing. Serious.
Boomy. Oh my goodness, man. Sending love and light to you back, Boomy. It's wonderful. Hope you're doing fine and keeping the faith.
hmm
That's fantastic. That that is really fantastic. Um, your writing
hmm
these days.
hmm
Um, what's making you write these days?
Um, yeah, and passion for this work that needs to be done, and to help other men and masculine folks kind of liberate themselves from this small box of unhealthy masculinity that's being put out there as the thing to be if you're a masculine person. Yeah, I mean, there's for when I was a teenager and I wanted to be, accepted, um, I felt like I was presented with this option of doing these masculine rituals of bonding that meant denigrating women and girls and LGBTQ folks, and then you'll be down. And I was like, but this doesn't feel good. Like that my sense of self is dependent on stepping on other people. I was like, and it's like, so we love girls, right? I'm just checking in. We love girls, we do. Okay, and it's I just want to I just I just I just want for us as men to be liberated from those kinds of masculinities.
Okay. We'll
Mm.
start winding down, but
Mhm,
a conversation piece came into my head.
mhm,
You probably have the opportunity
mhm,
to communicate with a lot of Black men.
mhm, mhm,
What do they tell you some of their challenges are?
mm.
I
Let
can
me
give you
see.
some of mine, but you're the guest.
Mhm.
I'd like you to lead with first.
Right, right. I'm trying to think of some. Let's see. Well, just yesterday.
You know,
Well,
while you're thinking, I'll give you some that
okay.
from
Why
my
don't you do that?
yeah.
Yes.
The
Mhm,
three top ones I hear is employment,
mhm,
housing,
mhm,
and the rising one is mental health / anger management.
mhm, mhm.
I
That
was
that last one was the one I was going to kind of pull for that came from the workshop yesterday. But continue. I want to hear what
Yeah,
you're saying.
I was a few weeks ago. I was asked by a colleague to mediate a dispute. I don't know what, an incident between a couple.
Mm,
They're together, not married. They've been together for a few years. She has some children from previous relationship.
mhm,
He has children from a previous relationship, and
mm,
they tell me they never did get in arguments. They had an argument the other day,
mhm,
and what did the gentleman? Well, I'll say gentleman.
mhm, mhm.
He got so upset that he tried to run her over 3 times. Not finished yet.
Hmm.
And then in reaction, the eldest daughter of the lady
Mhm,
got upset and got into, I guess, of a shoving incident with the gentleman. He
mm.
got upset. He left. So he's at a buddy's place. His buddy says, like, what's that on your back? What that is, that water? The eldest daughter had knifed him and he didn't even realize it.
Right.
Yes. And the funny thing is, when the initial incident happened, the police came. She didn't press charges.
Mm,
So here I am together with them, and I'm saying, I think the first thing after all this, I think the first place is, can you say you're sorry to each other?
mhm, mhm,
She was crying, wailing, saying she was sorry.
mhm,
He couldn't say he was sorry.
mm.
And
Did
that
you did you get a sense that he wanted to, or he definitely didn't want to?
he was thinking, but he never did.
Mhm,
So the gentleman that asked me to step in, I actually saw him yesterday, and I said, what's been going on? Well, it's not gotten better, because I think the other day, I don't know exactly, but he poured oil on her or something. And I just went, like I said, my friend, this gentleman said, look, for you to resolve this is out of your skill set. Get
mm,
another organization to handle it that specializes in anger management, because that's over your qualifications. I wouldn't even go there. I'd say this needs specialized
right.
counseling, helping, mentorship. So what I get concerned about, Richard, is the stories we're not hearing. during this
Hmm.
year.
Right. Um, so you're bringing up so you're bringing up a topic where it's one of the reasons that this work is important for me in 2020 is because during this pandemic and quarantine is that domestic violence has shot through the roof. People are locked in houses together, and people, women are in places where they can't escape, um, and domestic violence doesn't just look like men and women, but definitely by far, um, it's something that affects women the most.
Yeah.
Um, so in my workshops, I actually help give codes that you can give um, to anyone who's in an abusive relationship. Actually, it's something that I have to give DAPs to the indigenous community. There's, if you look up missing and murdered indigenous women, MMIW, they have, um, there's an idea that they have where you could make a code that you put out there, and you could call someone's house, and they have all these different colored bandanas, red and green, and it's like, hey, do you want to look? Do you want a bandana? And it's like, yeah, what color? Red. Oh, okay, red. And if they whatever color they say, like if they say red, that could mean please pull up a car outside so I can just run and jump into it and leave. Or it could mean call the police or whatever it is. Or it could mean I'm fine, but this, yeah. So codes like that. So yeah, so these are very serious
Yeah.
issues and definitely needs community intervention, and also we need to create our own intervention systems, and can't be police
No.
doing these things.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on that note, Richard,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna let you go.
Okay.
Just because you have had a long day, and I appreciate every
Mm.
moment you've spent with us this evening. Um, like to know if you have any final thoughts for our audience before we let you hopefully go get some rest.
Well, this has been great. I really appreciated being here with you, Dr. Vibe, and I'm glad to see everybody who signed in: Nikki, Boomy, David, my sister G, um, and yeah, I hope to come back and continue the conversation. Mhm.
Well, we definitely want to have you back. And
Mhm.
I just put on the screen where you can reach out to Richard, his website and
Mhm.
his Instagram handle.
Mhm.
And his website is richardwright.com.
Well, Richard M. Wright. Richard
Richard
M.
M. Sorry,
Wright.
Richard M. Wright. Sorry,
Mhm.
Richard M.
Mhm.
Wright.com, and Instagram, Wright Richard M.
Mhm. Yes.
So, like to say thank you so much for all you're doing, and
Mhm.
looking forward to having you back on the Dr. Vibe Show.
Sure. Thank you. Bless.
Thank you.
Mm.
And as before we sign off, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who joined us tonight for the live conversation. G, Boomy, yes, Boomy, we got to talk. David, yes, I'm going to be brave enough to have you on. Galen Bingham, big supporter of the Dr. Vibe Show. Jason Seals, thank you so much, Nadine,
Mm.
Suzanne. Thank you all for helping making this an epic conversation. My name is Dr. Vibe. I'm the host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of epic conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2018 award winner in the innovation category, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Um, and like to say, again, if you want to touch base with me, there it is. There's my website address. Go check it out. And all my contact information is there. If you'd want to be on the Dr. Vibe Show, all the replays of my epic conversations, my social media, etc. Like to sign off with this: live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, and then finally aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. And as Richard and I would probably say, walk good. Good night, everybody. Bye bye.